Hey everybody, John from Retired Rider. Hope everybody's doing well today. Wanted to touch on a subject that I know a lot of people have done in the past, but I want to touch on the subject of beginners. And what I mean by that is new riders. I know a lot of guys or gals, when they start out riding, they want to get out there and they want to purchase that big best bike they can buy, and they want that biggest Harley they can get, that great looking bike, and it's like that's what they're set on. But in my experience, that's not the right thing to do. If you're a new beginner, just starting to learn how to ride a motorcycle, and you're going to start this year, say in 2023, my advice is to first go to a course. Get that course underneath your belt. I mean, it's a good place to start. They're good with teaching you how to handle a bike, how to start, stop, things of that nature. My wife actually went to that class. I forget which one it was, but she did go to the class. I think it was a total of 4 days, 3 to 4 days is what I think it was. And it made her a better rider, definitely. That's something I definitely recommend, to go to a course. Me, I started riding, like I've said in previous videos, about 30-something years ago. Street bikes. I started out riding mini bikes, dirt bikes, things of that nature when I was young. I did not go to a class. I did, however, get my endorsement. I did get my temporaries. I did get my endorsement by going through the state test. And I passed it, but I think it was 100%, I think, on the driving test and written test. But getting back to beginners, don't go out. My advice is don't go out and purchase that big bike you like. You know, you're looking at that Road Glide. You've never been on a bike before. You've never rode before, and you're looking at that Road Glide. And it's just, I mean, they're beautiful. They're a beautiful bike. And you're just thinking, I'm going to get that Road Glide. I want to ride. I'm going to get that Road Glide. I'm just going to go. In my opinion, that's a mistake. You should always start out smaller. Something that fits you better. When you're starting out, you want something that has good balance. You can be flat-footed on it when you're sitting on it, and it's not heavy. You don't want to start out on a 900-pound bike, or anything higher than that. You want to start somewhere around, maybe start out on a 150, start out on a 250, start out on a 600. Starting out on a cruiser is a good way to start, but you want to stay in the low. You don't want to get up there into the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, even the 1600 to 1500 cc. I would recommend starting out in a 600 cc, maybe even lower. And it doesn't have to be a Harley. You definitely don't want to go out and spend $35,000 on a bike, like a Harley Road Glide or something like that, and be a beginner. Because I'm going to guarantee you this much, and maybe not for everybody, but I'm going to guarantee you this much: you're going to drop that bike at some point. You're not used to the weight. People look at bikes and think, oh, I can ride that. But I'm telling you, there's a difference between, a 600, 800, 900, 1,000-pound bike. I mean, there's big differences. And the best way to start is on a smaller bike. Some people might think, oh, a 250, that's too small, or 600, that's too small, or 400, that's too small. Actually, it's not. It's the best way to start, to keep you safe, to keep you from dropping the bike, keep you from essentially wrecking the bike. And as you get, learn more, and you're out there riding more, and it's a learning experience. The more you get into it, the more you ride, the more time you have in the seat, then you can progress up to other bikes. me myself, like I said, I started out on mini bikes, dirt bikes, and then I went street bike. My first street bike was actually a sport bike. It was a Kawasaki Ninja 600, and I went from the 600 to 650 CB Custom Honda, and then I went from the CB 650 Custom Honda to the 800 Suzuki Intruder, and then I went from the 800 to the 1400 Intruder, and then I progressed on up to there. I actually went on up from that to a 1600 Kawasaki Vulcan, and then I went up to a 1900 Yamaha Roadliner. So, of course, and then I went ahead and purchased my first Harley back in 2020. So, I've had, well, actually, my first Harley I did not purchase in 2020. I purchased it in 2018 or 2017, and that was a Road King, and that was a 2006, and I haven't looked back. And I'm not putting down any bikes at all whatsoever. And getting back to my point earlier is it doesn't matter if it's a Harley, it doesn't matter if it's a Sportster or a Yamaha or Suzuki or whatever it is, start out on something small. There's nothing shameful about it. We've all been there. We've all been starters. At some time we start riding a bike, and I sat on a few, and I was like, oh, that's a little heavy. Can I hold it up? Am I ready for that yet? So I progressed slowly up. And now I ride, like I said, I got up to a 1900. Now I'm back down to where I have the 107 here, which is about 1700 something cc's. And then I have the 1700 Vulcan Nomad. So, and actually, to be honest with you, they're getting a little heavy for me because I'm getting a little older. So, but I won't go any lower than 1700 now. But yeah, my suggestion is starting out on something, something that ain't got a lot of bulk to it, something that's low center of gravity. I like low center of gravity now, and I've been riding, like I said, over 30 years. So something that keeps your feet on the ground, keeps your feet flat on the ground. It's very important that you have your feet flat to the ground when you sit on your motorcycle. Now, somebody might tell you different, but in my experience, it's best to have, I feel comfortable with both of my feet being flat on the ground. Now, I know riders today that I see out there that are tippy-toeing their bikes around when they're at the light or when they're at, backing up, and that's dangerous. You got a $35,000 bike and you're tippy-toeing to back it up, or you're tippy-toeing at a stoplight, that's not good. You should always be flat-footed. I know everybody wants that big bike, and I know everybody wants that powerful bike, and I know everybody wants that gorgeous-looking, the fairing and the whole 9 yards, and everybody wants it. And I get that, but we have to be realistic and say, can I really handle that? Even people that have been riding for many, many years, they'll do that. They'll make that mistake. They'll go up to this big, huge bike, and then they realize, whoa, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. And then they got to either trade it in or tough it out. But yeah, beginners, always think about that. It doesn't have to be a brand new bike when you start out. It could be an old bike. You got older bikes out there that you can get for $1,500. Ride it your first season. At least one season. Ride that 250. Ride that 400. Ride that 600. Ride that 800 if you think you can do an 800. But don't go out and buy that, that 900 pound, 950 pound, 1,000 pound bike right off the bat being a beginner. It's not safe for you. It's not going to be a good deal for you. In my opinion, you're going to find that it was a mistake. Because these bikes can get very heavy. They can get bulky. You got the full dressers that can get bulky. The baggers, they're heavy. And they're heavy to push around, to back up like into a parking spot. These cruisers, these touring bikes, they don't have reverse. So you have to push that back. And sometimes you have to push it around in the garage and things of that nature. So you don't want that heavy, heavy bike until you're got the experience, you've been out there, and you're ready for it. Now, for example, I had a friend, and he was on a Sportster, and he rode that Sportster pretty damn good. And he decided, I recommended it to him. I said, look, ride that Sportster for, a couple of seasons, 2 years or a year at least, and get that seat time and learn how to ride that bike well, then progress to another bike. Well, he had that Sportster, and he went straight from that Sportster, I think it was in the same season he started, right up to a Road Glide, and it was an issue for him. It was an issue for him starting out. It was an issue for him stopping. It was an issue for him taking curves. He actually went off the road, and I'm not putting him down whatsoever. I don't put anybody down. We all learn from experience, and I'm just sharing this experience with you guys, and hopefully he doesn't get mad at me. But and he, we were pulling out of a store. We had stopped and got something to drink, and we was pulling out of the store, and he just dropped it. He just dropped it and flipped off the bike, and it was a brand new Road Glide. That's something you don't want to do, is not be ready for that big bike and drop it, and you just paid all that money for that motorcycle, and now it's laying on its side. Yeah, they have crash bars, but you don't want your crash bar tore up, and it could be worse. Say he dropped that bike and fell off that bike and it slung him off and he smacked his head on the curb. He did have a helmet on, but what if you don't? It could be a catastrophe. But beginners, I think by law, I'm pretty sure in the state where we're at, state of Ohio, you have to wear a helmet for the first year, I believe it is. If I'm wrong, correct me down in the comment section. But here in Ohio, I believe that's the case. But I do strongly suggest that if you're a beginner, you're going to start riding a bike in 2023, go to that class, wear a helmet, and get the bike that suits you. The hell with what anybody else says. Well, you're riding a Sportster, or you're a guy and you're riding a Sportster, or you're a guy and you're riding a 600. You're a guy, you're riding this. That doesn't matter. Don't listen to anybody, because your safety is most important. And learning how to ride is, you just don't just jump on and ride. Nobody just jumps on a big old 1800, 1900 bike and just rides. If they do, they're few and far between. And they're going to have their situations and their accidents and put themselves in situations that's not good. So please, if you're going to ride in 2023, and I want everybody, ride. I want everybody to ride. Bike, motorcycles are just the ultimate for me. I love it. And I think a lot more people are going to get interested, and they all have been getting interested in motorcycles for years. It's been building. And it's just a fun thing to do. It can be used for everyday transportation, just for road trips, weekend trips, whatever way you want to do it. But it's a great experience. I love it. By all means, go out there and do that if that's something you want to do. But do it in the right way. Start out on that smaller bike. Stay on it for that season. Don't get anxious and say, well, everybody else is riding a bigger bike than me, and everybody else's bikes, it's a 1700, mine's a 600, his is an 1800, mine's a 600, a 400 or whatever. Don't worry about that. Don't stress about that. You're learning. You're beginning. Don't put yourself in a situation you don't want to be in. Like I said, and I know I've been repeating myself, but start out on that smaller bike, whether it be a Sportster, whether it be a Yamaha, or I don't care what brand it is, because this is not going to be your forever bike. This is just going to be your starter bike where you start and you learn and you get seat time. Seat time is very important. That's what you're gaining. You're gaining experience and seat time. You're gaining the ability to control that bike, learn how it handles, and then move within a year or two up to the next level, and to the next level after that, and to the next level after that, and to where you get the bike that's comfortable for you. Everybody has to ride a bike that is comfortable for them. Like I said before, be flat-footed when you're on your bike. You don't want to be on your bike and be on your tiptoes when you're on your motorcycle. You want to be able to get on your bike. You want to be able to, I'm not sure if you can see this, but you want to see how my knees are bent here? I don't know if you can see it or not on the video, but you want to be comfortable on this bike. You want your feet, your feet firmly on the ground. You don't want to be on your tiptoes or up like this on your tiptoes trying to hold that bike up at a light or trying to push the bike backwards in a parking spot on your tiptoes. That's dangerous for you, dangerous for the bike, because it will be easy to drop that bike. So pick a bike starting out that fits you, where you can sit comfortably on that bike and you can comfortably hold that bike up. Now, like I said before earlier in the video, I've seen guys that's been riding for years, and they'll pick a bike, and they'll be a shorter person, and they'll pick a bike where they're on their tiptoes. You know, my recommendation is don't do that. Don't do that just for the sake of having a big bike. Don't do that, because you're putting yourself in danger, and when you put yourself in danger, you put other people in danger. So pick a bike that fits you. Even if you're a seasoned rider, pick a bike that fits you. Pick a bike that you can hold up. You know, like I said, this is a 2019 Harley Davidson Road King. I have a 2013 1700 Kawasaki Vulcan, and that's perfect for me. I did have the 1900 Roadliner, and, you know, it was a little big. I ain't gonna lie. A little heavy. But also, make sure, like I said, you're comfortable. Do not get a bike where you're not comfortable on that bike. If you feel the weight of that bike and you're like, I'm not sure about this, then you shouldn't be riding that motorcycle. So be comfortable on that bike. Be flat-footed when you're at a stop, and be comfortable with the weight of that bike. And if you're starting out, please start out on a used bike. Like I said earlier in the video, you can get them for $1,500, $2,000. Ride it for that first season. Doesn't matter what people think about what you're riding. If you really are you really want a Harley, there's Harley cruisers out there you can get that are 600, a little bit larger bike, but you don't want to start out on that 1700 or that 1800 or that 1900 bike. You don't want to do that. And I know I'm being redundant, but I just want to stress that point to you new riders and new beginners that are going to be starting here in 2023, because you don't have to have that brand new Harley right off the bat. You'll regret it. You'll be like, oh, it might even scare you to the point when you're taking a curve or you're sitting at a light or whatever you might be doing. You might get scared to the point you won't ride again. And I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to start out on something that fits you, that fits your ability at the time, get that seat time, and ride that bike until you feel comfortable, at least one season, until you feel comfortable to progress up to the next bike. And don't go jumping from a 600 to a 1900 or 1700 or 1600. Gradual up. If you can afford it, gradual up. And don't, like I said, don't go out and buy a $35,000 Harley if you're a beginner. That's a mistake. I've seen many guys make it. Don't do that. It's going to be harder on you. Do progress, like I said, from 250 or 400, 600, and move up. And get a used bike, because you're going to have your drops. You're going to drop it at some point or another. I guarantee you will drop that bike at some point or another. You will drop it. And I'm not, I'm not cursing you or anything, but you will drop that bike, and you don't want to be dropping a brand new Harley or a brand new metric bike. Whatever you're buying, you don't want to drop that bike. So start out with something small. Go to classes. Wear your helmet, and don't care what anybody says. Get your seat time. Learn. I'm always learning. I've been riding 30-something years, and I'm learning. I learn there's times I learn on every ride. Should have watched that. Should watch this. So you're learning always. There's always something to learn. So like I said, just be patient. Get that bike that fits you in the beginning. Get your seat time. Progress from there. Hopefully this helps you a little bit. I just don't want to see anybody get hurt. I want to, it's best to start out the right way, and that'll make your motorcycle years be better. You know what I mean? You'll learn, and you'll have the experience, and then by the time you move up to that, road glide or, whatever you're really wanting to get, you'll be prepared and ready, and you'll be safe out there. So anyway, just my advice on you beginners starting 2023. Hopefully you get a little something out of it, and you can go from there and make the right decisions. I appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe. We're at 99 subscribers, and we're hoping today to get to that 100 mark. Check us out on Instagram. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. Hopefully, hopefully these months, I say this in every video, but hopefully we can get through these winter months and get out there and do some moto vlogging. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. Be safe. Stay warm, and I'll see you on the next one. You guys have a great day.